before I was a host on the show, I got to be a listener, and I still remember going for walks around my neighborhood listening to your episode specifically about Amazon influencer and how you were making money. And I'm excited to have a spin-off conversation to this today. So welcome back.
Thanks. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the pivot, right? That is essential when you're an entrepreneur. So I want to talk a little bit about Amazon influencer itself, and then even just how you can take all the things that you were doing then, the success you've had, and how you continue to build that. So tell us a little bit about what well, I guess to give our listeners background, I think we've posted the episode a couple times, but you, for a little while, were having pretty good success and still are with Amazon influencers. So tell us a little bit just briefly about what that is compared to Amazon affiliate.
Yeah. So Amazon affiliate is something that anyone can do where you simply sign up through Amazon. You can just Google it, Amazon affiliate program, and you just have to fill out a few things and everyone's accepted into that program. All it does is it gives you a link. So if you want to sell any products that are available on Amazon, you can make a video about it. You can make a social post and then just include that link and direct people to Amazon. So it's people who are offsite that are directing traffic to Amazon. And then if people make a purchase, you make a small commission on that. The Amazon influencer program is on-site commissions, meaning that you push your video directly to Amazon instead of social media or YouTube or whatever. You're posting it right on Amazon. And when people are scrolling on Amazon and watch videos to better understand the product, if they watch enough of your video and then purchase the product, you make a commission on that. And so the nice thing is you don't have to generate any of your own traffic. It's not a sales and marketing kind of deal. It's simply creating content that Amazon uses and you getting paid for it.
Cool. I love that. Thank you for the clarification because I know that even as content creators, I have a lot of friends who are influencers, content creators, and even a lot of them don't know the difference. And I think
Right.
I just kind of defaulted to say, I think the odds are if you have a storefront, you're probably an influencer. If you don't, then you're not. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
I don't
Um,
know either, actually. I'm not sure if you can have a storefront as just an affiliate. Maybe.
yeah, maybe. Okay, so this has you mentioned this even in that initial interview, which has been a little while, where anything that has an uptick, anything that's really successful, the more we talk about it, there was a lot of people who built their secondary business, even like teaching other people how to become Amazon influencers and get those on-site commissions. And so naturally that's going to bring a lot of people to the platform. I know for a minute too there was like kind of a barrier of entry with becoming one and you didn't even know you could try and then try again and if you didn't get in, that was that. So tell me a little bit about how that's shifted and changed. Are more people getting into the program? Has it become more saturated as you thought it probably would be?
Yeah, I think just like most platforms, you're going to see saturation over time just as people find out about it, especially a program like Amazon Influencer, where the barrier to entry is relatively low. There were a few different gates that you'd have to pass through, but for anyone who was serious about doing it, it was and it remains relatively easy to get into the program. Now, where that has changed a little bit is they've always had the same process where you had to have a social following so that you could claim to be an influencer. And it didn't matter what your social following was about. You just had to have a channel that had a following that had engagement. And then if you met their threshold, which they never divulged what that was, then you would get accepted into the program, but not yet approved for on-site commissions. And so what would happen is, say you had 1,000 followers on TikTok, you made videos, people engaged with your videos, you apply and they accept you and say you've been accepted into the Amazon influencer program. Now the next step is you have to create a few videos, upload them to your Amazon storefront, and those have to be approved. And once those are approved, then you're accepted for on-site commissions. If they're
Mm,
not approved, you can continue to put things in your storefront and make off-site commission sales. So just as if it was like YouTube, but on Amazon.
yeah.
But that's where a lot of people were frustrated is they would make their 3 videos and get rejected. And it seemed to be very difficult. Now
Hmm.
getting approved for those 3 videos seems to be easier. Building up a social following is easier now than ever before. And so those barriers to entry, I think, have kind of diminished over time, which has meant that more and more people have joined the program. And then, of course, listening to podcasts like this, or especially a few years ago when we were riding the wave of a lot of money on Amazon Influencer, people were joining in throngs back then. And so that contributes to it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what are your numbers looking like right now? I know I love to get into the nitty-gritty where you were making before compared to now. I know we mentioned before we even got on the call, like there's certain business models, of course, you're going to scale and you could be making this amount of money at this point, but saturation does play a part in that. And I'm sure
Right.
even your strategy and your time that you're investing into it has shifted a little bit. So tell me a little bit after, being an early adopter, has that served you in a huge way or do you feel like not as much as you would have hoped?
Yes, but with changes, I think that's why we're having this conversation is you need to pivot. As an entrepreneur, when the world changes, you have to make changes or that passive or semi-passive income will dry up. So I've been in the program for a little over 2 years, maybe coming up on 2.5 years. And during that time, I've made about $140,000, which is about $5,000 a month.
Mhm.
And I got
Hmm.
to that $5,000 a month threshold within my first 4 or 5 months in the program. So,
Wow.
and that's when I appeared on the show last, was when I'd been in the program just a few months. I was making 4 or $5,000 a month. I am now making 4 or $5,000 a month. But the big difference is, when I was on the podcast before, I had made a few hundred videos, a few hundred review videos. Now I've made a few thousand review videos, all of which can make commissions, but I'm
Mhm.
making much less per video than I was making before. I'm also spending much less time. So I've through this whole process, I've maintained my full-time day job. And so I was squeezing in time on the side in the early days, and it was, 10 to 20 hours a week. I was really maximizing weekends and holidays and just hustling. And that summer, and I was recording over 100 videos a month.
Mm.
Now I'm recording about 25 to 50 videos a month, but most of those are free products that people are sending me. And we can talk about that process in a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing a lot of new products that I'm purchasing or things lying around the house. I've already reviewed most of those things, and so I've slowed down in my production schedule. But it's also just, I've kind of stepped back a little bit, and instead of spending 10 to 20 hours a week, I'm spending 0 to 5 hours a week, but maintaining that $5,000 a month, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the general numbers. The other numbers that have changed is last time we talked, almost 100% of my review income was coming directly from Amazon influencer on-site commissions.
Mhm.
Now only about 50% of my review income is coming from on-site commissions. The rest is coming from off-site commissions, like YouTube directing people to Amazon. I'm making money on a YouTube channel where I post my reviews and monetizing that with AdSense. I'm getting paid to review products that people send me for free. And so that's part of my income. And then there's a few other little streams, TikTok shop and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
so the pie has changed, but the income's about the same.
That's so cool. All right, so let's talk about that because I know that pivoting is an essential part of things and you I think this is the key to success. You can't look at it in this linear fashion or through this really tiny lens of okay, I'm always going to make a ton of money doing Amazon influencer. If we had all said the one thing we started with was going to be the thing that made us billionaires forever, nobody would be wealthy, right? It's so
Right.
rare that you can stick with just the exact same offer, this exact same service. Scalability does have to require those pivots at times, but the benefit is you have taken I mean, what was your knowledge base before with the online space and selling products, anything like that, before you started doing just this one program compared to now and all of the things that you've learned in the process?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I didn't have much knowledge of affiliate marketing and selling products, but that doesn't mean I hadn't sold products. I'm an author, so I've sold my own books and other people's books as an editor. I've developed websites and things like that. So I've had to sell services,
Mhm.
and have done that in the past. And I'm fairly tech forward, like I understand technology, and that's developed over years and decades. What was new to me was digital marketing and affiliate marketing. And I'm continuing to learn, but that's one of the nice thing about once you kind of get into it, you can pivot and apply something like right now I'm doing more work on TikTok shop and I've taken what I've learned from Amazon and I'm applying it there, even though the style of video is very different. The way you upload and edit videos is very different. But a lot of those skills that I've developed along the way, I'm utilizing now. And so definitely came into this with some skills and even with some experience with doing product reviews. So before I was in the Amazon influencer program, I already did have a YouTube channel and a few
Mm,
social media accounts because I had worked with a company. It's called Thomason. I don't think it exists anymore, but it matched up brands with influencers and they would send you stuff. And so over, 5 years prior to Amazon, I'd done one or two videos a month where I was just getting free stuff. Even wrote a book called How to Get Free Stuff. So I've worked in that space for a while. But Amazon influencer definitely required me to learn a new skill set and to make some adjustments.
yeah. So at what point were you like, okay, it's time to diversify this a little bit? We're seeing a little bit of stagnation, or I'm having to put out so much more content to make the same amount of money. So is it just kind of a gradual little bit here and there, or were you making pretty conscientious decisions to add a little more income from this, or did it kind of fall into your lap because you were doing that already?
Yeah, both. I've always taken really detailed notes, and I have spreadsheets with all my data in regards to reviews. And so I've been able to identify trends early. In fact, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about the Amazon Influencer Program, and my subscribers, that's what they like the most is getting those income reports where I go through the trends and the data.
Mhm.
So I knew early on in 2024 my earnings per video went down every single month over the
Mm.
course of the year, and that trend has continued. So I'm making less per video than I've ever made before. I used to be making like $10 per video per month. Now I'm making about $1 per video per month. So
Wow.
10% of what I was making in the early days. And so I saw those trends and was thinking, all right, how do I diversify? How do I pivot? Do I just, in the beginning, it was, how do I increase my output so I can just make
Mhm.
more videos because the videos aren't worth as much. And so I did really push in the beginning of 2024. But then I did make a conscious decision towards the end of last year that I wanted to start moving away from quantity and move into quality because what I was seeing was what you discussed earlier. Things fell into my lap as far as sponsored videos. The more
Mm.
videos you have in your storefront or on your YouTube channel, the more people reach out to you to make new review videos. So they'll send you products, they'll pay you in many cases, and that's a negotiation. But you'll get paid to review products. And so been doing pretty consistently 10, 15 videos per month that are paid reviews. And I started finding I could raise my rates and get better products, but I needed to have a strategy. And the strategy was make better videos instead of just cranking out a ton of videos, make a few really good videos that will perform offsite on YouTube and direct traffic. And then you're making money from offsite commissions, onsite commissions, but then you're also making more money from sponsored videos. And that I started making that shift late last year, and I'm starting to see the dividends of that now. I just got my biggest sponsored contract, 6 videos for $900, which and then the value of the products they sent me, they're all it's just a bunch of canopies, but the total value of those canopies is several $1,000s. And so,
Wow.
I wasn't getting those kinds of things to review a year ago. It's been making better videos and I still make bad videos too, where I just rush and do a product review, but I'm working on a few each month that are a little higher quality.
Yeah. Well, and when you say bad videos, I think sometimes that in and of itself is a strategy, right? Like
Yeah.
the joke, the videos you spend the least amount of time on seem to convert the most, but you also want to be giving, in the partnership agreement, you're not agreeing to like, I'm going to give you the worst quality video because I think it's going to convert high. So,
Yeah. Let me clarify that real quick, if
yeah.
you don't mind. When I say bad videos, what I mean it for that is in the product review space, what is highly valued by consumers is people who have products, use the products, and talk about their experience. And to do
Mhm.
that, all you need a phone on selfie mode and show what you're doing with the product. You don't need to edit it. You don't need jump cuts. You don't need B-roll. You don't need a soundtrack. You just need to talk about the product, and you can make a video like that in 1 to 3 minutes and be done with no editing.
Mhm.
And those actually convert really, really well on Amazon. They don't convert as well on YouTube, where people are looking for more long form style videos where they get into the nitty-gritty, tell me all the
Yeah.
details about it. And so that's where the difference is.
Got it. Okay. Even I want to talk about TikTok shop in just a minute too, but I was just going to I think I was going to say like it's so fascinating to hear if you had been told maybe when you started, I know you said you had great background and you had dabbled in things and you had some exposure, entrepreneur in your blood. But I think if you had been told back then, okay, you're going to build this brand, you're going to do YouTube videos, you're going to do product reviews, you're going to do this and this and this, like it probably would have felt like, ugh, and you would have struggled to try and perfect everything at once. And I think the message I want our listeners to hear is we're talking about pivots, but we're talking about evolution of skill set too, right? Where you progressed and you now know what to do because you've done it, not because you just took a course or had somebody else tell you how to do it. There is nothing that replaces getting in the trenches and doing the thing in terms of your skill improving, but also sorry, doors of opportunity opening to you as well with these. I mean, that's so huge. How exciting to be getting a product worth thousands of dollars and be getting paid $900. And if you're doing the math there, which I do, you used to be getting $10, in on-site commissions per product video. Now we're talking 6 videos. That's what, $150? That's way higher than what you were getting before. That can scale. That's going to look different, I guarantee, a year from now as you've grown your own personal brand and everything. But yeah, I think that's everybody needs to remember that. You're not supposed to be as good as you're going to be right when you start.
Yeah. I'll add to that. One thing that frustrates new uh, product reviewers is they'll work really hard. They'll make 50 videos and then they'll make $4 in commissions in that first month. And then in the next month, they'll make $7. And they'll continue to add videos and they'll say, well, this isn't working. Well, one of the nice things about creating digital assets is often they work for a long period of time. So
Mhm.
I made a video about the time we last talked, where that video converted really well, and I started making my first month I made like $1,000 in commissions on one product. Well, just last month on that same product, I made $200, and over the
Mm,
lifetime of the product, I've made $17,000.
wow.
And so one of the cool things about making any digital product is it has that long tail. It's not passive, but it is semi-passive in that there's the potential over time. And so when you talk about, only making $10 a month per video, well, if you continue to make $10 a month for that same video, over the lifetime, it's gonna be worth a lot more than a sponsored video. But that's
Yeah.
the beauty of a sponsored video is I got paid up front, but I can still make commissions on that video. So I'm making it on the front end and on the back end, which I
Mhm.
really love.
Yeah, so smart. I mean, compounding compounding success is a real thing. So I love that you pointed that out because it is easy to get frustrated when you're not seeing it, but YouTube as well, like, has I think YouTube and TikTok particularly, and I'm sure Amazon on-site commissions will always have that content that'll continue to serve you too. But I don't think people understand the value of how long a video's life can last. I remember learning this a while ago, like, you're kinda paying for real estate, but it's online real estate, and you're never gonna regret putting that content out there for multiple reasons, like, it's gonna help you continue to monetize, but it's you build a YouTube channel with enough videos, you'll be getting paid for the videos you created 15 years ago for the rest of your life, and that's pretty powerful, and that's something you can't. I love the concept you don't know how much money you made in your first few months of doing something because you'll get paid dividends for that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right. So, yeah, good point to
Well,
make.
and even if you don't do it right, if you're
Yeah.
smart with what you do with your earnings, what we've done is as we started increasing
Wow.
our income as a family, we took a lot, increased our lifestyle, like we go on more vacations and things like
Mm,
that now. But we also had a rental real estate
yeah.
that we put all our extra money into, and that mortgage is almost completely paid off now. We get about $1,500 a month in rent, and so even if I never make another penny from product reviews, I'm gonna make $1,500 a month for the rest of my life, as well as the appreciation on that property, which could end up in the millions of dollars. And so as long as you're smart with what you do with your earnings, you can truly have passive income, based on that semi-passive work that you do before.
I love this. It's so funny. I've sat in on the other side of so many conversations like this. I've been friends with Justin and Tara for a long time. I've heard all of it. And I think there's just pieces of it that click a little bit at a time when you realize it's not rocket science. Like, you bring in some cash flow, you use that cash flow wisely. You don't just live on it, you go build something that's a little more passive. This is how we build real wealth, you guys. Like, we've heard it enough times. Hopefully, it's really sinking in for everyone as it's continuing to sink in for me. 'Cause like you said, you're gonna continue to cash flow by leaving those assets up there, and then it's what you do with that. So, Very cool. I love that. How exciting that you've taken a side hustle and turned it into an investment that's gonna pay for the rest of your life. Like, that's the dream.
Yep.
Um, so I mentioned I wanted to talk about TikTok Shop, and I love all the things that we've covered so far, that you're doing the sponsorships, you're putting things on YouTube, you have the channel. How much have you dabbled in TikTok Shop? Because I'm pretty gobsmacked at what you can make as a TikTok Shop affiliate. I mean, I've had a little success myself, probably nothing
Right.
like what all these creators have had. So let's talk about that and even this crossover. And do you feel like TikTok even kind of pushed Amazon a little bit? Because I remember TikTok, somebody saying TikTok wants to take over Amazon. Like they want to be the platform you go to purchase. So
Right.
can we just talk platform specific for a minute before we even get into your strategy, what you're seeing, and why people need to be paying attention to what's happening over there?
Yeah. Uh, So, a few significant things about the TikTok shop. When you post a video in TikTok shop, unlike Amazon, they are going to promote that video for you and drive traffic to your video. Now, depending on how your video performs, how it converts and what your history of videos have done over time, they might promote some videos more than others. But TikTok's really interesting because they're going to bring traffic to your video. The commissions are higher. So on Amazon, you get 0.5% to 4%. On TikTok Shop, it's not unusual to go 10, 20% commissions on a product. And then the other thing that's different about the TikTok Shop is in Amazon, you have limited places to put your video. You
Hmm.
have that top carousel, you have the bottom
Yeah.
carousel, and most people just in good form will put only one or two total videos per product. You don't want to see someone spamming the product area. On TikTok Shop, you are encouraged to spam the product because you have infinite spaces. It's just part of their directory of videos, right? And so you can take a product that's converting well for you and make a new video for it every single day and post hundreds of videos for the same product. And the people who seem to be going viral are doing exactly that. They're trend surfing, they're finding the products that are viral already. They're making useful videos that help convert people, and then they're posting video after video after video. Now, I'm saying they because what you mentioned earlier is dabbled, and that's what I have done with TikTok Shop. I did start around this time last year with
Hmm.
TikTok Shop, and I had one product that did really well. I made 2 or 3 videos and made $500, which was fantastic for a wallet. It was just for a wallet. None of my other videos made a penny. So I made like 10 other, 15 other videos, and none of them converted at all. And
Hmm.
then TikTok underwent some changes, and I actually got kicked out of the program. They're kind of fickle that way. It's really easy to get violations and things like that. So you have to be careful with TikTok shop. But then I did have a bunch of friends who were Amazon influencers that were having huge success. One friend made almost $500,000 last year, and I learned as much as I could. And when you film in TikTok, it is different from Amazon because it's vertical, it is jump cuts, it's fast moving. The hook is critical. You have to get people to watch your video, and so that first 5 seconds is really critical. So it's a different skill set, and I'm working on building my chops right now. So I got re-accepted into the program for two different channels. One's a niche area, and then the other one's just general reviews. And I've started posting, but I've only posted a handful of videos to that, have made a few bucks, but nothing significant yet. So I'm excited to see what could happen there, but it's not consistent income for me yet.
Yeah. Well, and again, it brings up the point where I think this can scare people away because I've been creating content for the better part of, I don't know, a decade and a half. Like, I'm not afraid to make content. What I think was challenging for me is you have this new format of video. Like you said, there's jump cuts. And we're not just talking about affiliate marketing videos either. We're not just talking about TikTok shop. In general, like, I think the confusing thing is so many things work. And so there's not one size fits all. It's you really have to get in there and find what works for you. And yes, mastering the hook, all of those things are super important and it changes quickly. Like
Yeah.
there's kind of a trend with what works in terms of conversion over there. And you have to be willing to pivot and evolve with that really quickly. But I think what my point is you've developed the skill of creating video, but it's okay and it's normal that you're also having to adapt the format, the style, like, you're having to almost relearn content for that platform. And I think this is important information because if you're thinking, "Okay, well, I've done Amazon, I've done Instagram, I can come over to TikTok and make a killing because 'cause I'm really good at content." There's a high chance you're gonna tank because the formatting is different, but it's okay, and it's possible to learn and figure it out, and there is a ton of money to be made on that platform. It blows my mind what I see people doing.
Yeah, and it's encouraging because I personally know a lot of people who are making good money on TikTok Shop that were making good money on Amazon Influencer and have kind of pivoted away. I think I'm making more money on Amazon Influencer relative to the effort I put in than almost anyone I know. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like I've kinda dialed in and I get it. And so I'm able to optimize videos, review the right products, etcetera. But it's really cool for me to see, all right, they've successfully pivoted. They're making a lot more money over there than I'm making over here. So I need to at least investigate this. And so I am working on it, but I have a lot of different hats, and especially with my day job as a teacher, I have to prioritize that, so I just haven't spent as much time there in TikTok as I'd like to.
Yeah. Before we like pivot away from that topic or that platform too, I just want to tell our listeners, viewers, the thing that's so fascinating about this that I think Amazon was trying to replicate is that on-site buying experience. And it's kind of like Instagram and Amazon having a baby. And that's why there's nothing quite like it. Because where else, Instagram has tried to have their shop tool where you're on a feed post or something and you can click the button, but it still typically takes you off platform. And the crazy thing about TikTok Shop, as a consumer and as a creator, I think this is brilliant. The algorithm is so powerful and almost to the point of annoying. Like you said, TikTok will continue to put those videos out for you. If you watch a video for like 1.5 seconds about a cheese grater, I can promise you from personal experience, you will see that cheese grater until you buy the dang cheese grater. And I did. I bought the cheese grater. It works great. I need to make videos about it now. But it's so powerful because you're just right there. It's like QVC, but it's infotainment and there's really nothing quite like it, and I think Amazon tried to replicate. You and I were kinda talking about that before,
Mhm.
and you feel like that didn't really work. So if somebody is kinda sticking with Amazon on-site commissions, what didn't work about vertical video, and what would you recommend in terms of even the technical formatting for Amazon?
Well, a lot of this will make sense. When you think about vertical versus horizontal video, you have to think about where are people watching that video. So obviously with vertical video, they're watching it on their phones. With horizontal video, they could be watching it on their television, their computer, their phone, etc. And when people do shopping, those habits are changing where more and more people are starting to shop on their phone. But I know I'm still pretty old school. If I'm doing research on a product, I'm doing it on my computer, which is
Mhm.
horizontal. I'm watching longer form videos, so I can learn as
Mhm.
much as I can about that product. Now, vertical video, especially because of apps like TikTok, are mostly entertainment. At least traditionally they have been. So when we look at YouTube Shorts, when we look at TikToks, it's entertainment. And now we're adding shopping to that experience. Well, we're seeing people start to adopt to that more and more, and so that's taking up more and more of the market share. The problem is Amazon is not an
To
entertainment
scroll a
platform.
feed,
It is
yeah.
a shopping platform. And so when they made a big push for vertical videos, it didn't take because people aren't going to Amazon um, for entertainment. They're going just for and you compare that to TikTok Shop. One of my channels, it's fun because I review baseball cards. So I just open packs of baseball cards, old junk wax baseball cards. They're not worth anything. And I don't sell them at all. I simply open a pack of baseball cards and then I link to where you can buy it. And those convert. Like people watch these videos and then they're like, well, I want to open a pack of baseball cards. And so it's entertainment first, and then, oh yeah, I can actually have this. And even when you make product reviews for a cheese grater, you want to make it entertaining. That's the focus is how do I get people to continue to watch
Mm.
it so that they'll buy it? And I hate this about the TikTok shop, but so many videos are you have to buy it now. This is on a flash sale. This is, TikTok's gonna be go away because of what's happening politically. So if you don't buy it in the next 7 seconds, you won't get it. So there's this scarcity, which is part of selling, but it's a little scammy on TikTok Shop. I don't love that direction that it's gone, but this is where we're moving with online shopping is vertical video. And so learning the strategies that work there, and doing it ethically, I think that's where we should be at.
Yeah. And again, like I know I said you do have to learn a format for this, and I don't want to hinder people to thinking like you can't find your way. Because even for me, I was like, okay, I'm seeing these products are selling. This is what I should be doing.
Mhm.
And then I had to really step back and say, well, what's in alignment with me? And this is coming from more of a personal brand where I have other things I'm selling. I'm not just focusing on affiliate marketing. And so I was thinking, okay, I have read probably 200 personal development business books. And I started to see them on TikTok Shop. This is where I had my success. Posted one video about a book, and the commission was only like $1.50 per book, but it adds up when they're pushing that out and you're getting those views and you're excited about it. So I think there's something to be said about that too. And anything that you're doing when it comes to product reviews or affiliate marketing, you want to make sure that you're aligned with it. So I love that you said you're super excited. You're opening these baseball cards. It's fun for you. Maybe it wasn't a lot of fancy editing, but it was something that you can continue to like gain that exposure because you're excited. And so that is I love that about TikTok. I agree with you on some of the marketing tactics and the things that people do. But I still think we have a pretty good BS meter and we love connecting with people who have like minded interest. So if
Right.
just tap into what works for you and I don't know, do you agree? Like, don't worry too much about following some of those trends where, yes, it might be like instant gratification now, but it's not really in alignment with the kind of business that you're building.
Yeah, I think you can actually go both ways on that. If you want to grow slowly and ethically and feel good about yourself, then
Hmm.
you make quality content and you enjoy yourself. You enjoy the journey, right? Can you hack the system, get viral videos, be a scumbag and make $1 million? Yes. Like
Yeah.
TikTok Shop feels like it was built for that kind of person, right? And so most of us are somewhere in the middle then where I want to have fun with this, but I want to learn from what's working. And so I need to
Hmm.
incorporate some of these strategies and skills, but still have fun with it. And the interesting thing, and I can thank Amazon for this, is because of the extra income we've made just in the last few years, it has really accelerated our path towards financial freedom. And so I'm now in a position where I wasn't 2 years ago, where I make different decisions because I don't need the money anymore. And
Hmm.
so I can do what's fulfilling, what's helping other people, and I spend a lot more time even making YouTube videos for my channel talking about the Amazon influencer. I spend way more time doing that than doing product reviews, and I haven't been paid a cent for that. But
Hmm.
it's rewarding and it's fulfilling. I'm a school teacher. I love to share with people. And I'm fortunate now to be in a position where I can do that and not be like, well, how am I going to pay the bills? And so
Yeah.
that's a fortunate place to be.
Yeah. I feel like that's real wealth. Like that's a huge component of real wealth where you can do what you really love to do and you can be like I said, you're in alignment with your passion and the thing that you could just do all the time and not get paid for it and be able to do that and not even have to worry about the money, the financial side of it. That's the real freedom that I think all of us are seeking. So I love that you mentioned that. It's super important to keep in mind because as you started this, I just kind of want to like take our listeners back too. You were starting a side hustle. You'd mentioned some of the things that you had done previously, but what was your mindset back then with like, okay, we just need like some extra cash? Because some people can get stuck there. They might hear me say this and think, oh, so I need to like do the thing that I'm super passionate about. But even then it was kind of like, let's test this. Let's see if this works. Let's dabble. And then it works and it evolves from there, right?
Right. I've been fortunate in that, um,
Mm-hmm.
for the last several years, we've been financially stable. I have 4 children, the 3 teenagers, they're getting older. There are a lot of needs there. Um, and when I first started doing product reviews, it was out of necessity. I didn't have it. I had, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
left my job and didn't get the new job that I was planning on, and that's why I started doing product reviews in the first place, was to get my kids presents for Christmas, right? But since then, my income has steadily improved as well as my investments have steadily increased. And so when by time I got into the Amazon influencer program, I was relatively comfortable making a decent income.
Mm-hmm.
But I got in because I have a little brother who's better at all this than I am, And he's like, "No, like, it is so good right now. This is the easiest money you'll ever make."
Mhm.
And so he kept encouraging me till I joined the program, and he was right. Um, and so I was fortunate a lot, and we know this. You're the outcome of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And so if you associate with people who are being proactive in developing skills and looking for ways to improve their lifestyle, that rubs off on you, and that certainly has been the case for me. But I've never needed to do this. I've always felt fulfilled in my job. I've always, felt relatively secure as far as being able to at least get food on the table. And I know that that's a blessed position to be in. A lot of people aren't in that position. But I've also been fortunate in that, as you mentioned, I've always had side hustles, and 99% of them have failed. But they failed in making money. They haven't failed in helping me develop skills that now are working on my current side hustles, right? And so that time wasn't wasted. It was just compounded as I built skills.
Yeah. Ooh, so super important. Do not underestimate the value of that, because like we said a little while ago, things are going to come and go, and you never typically make all of your wealth from the thing that you started the very first time. And I think sometimes it can feel a little disheartening to hear people say, like, a lot of things won't work until the things that do. But
Right.
it's just anticipate that's part of the entrepreneur roller coaster. And you're doing it right if it's not all working out overnight for you. You're doing it right if it's not overnight. It's a great little tagline to throw out there for people. Okay, so we've talked a lot about a few different platforms and what you're personally doing. If somebody's listening to this now, it's 2025. What do you recommend the course of action for getting started in affiliate marketing? Is it, some people are like, do I pay for products so that I can do product reviews? What do we do to start generating some income?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe that we're just getting started with the creator economy. We know that these online marketplaces are going to continue to grow. There's going to be new platforms that pop up and provide competition. And so what's most important right now is developing skills. And you can do that without any equipment. If you have a phone, you can create videos. And so my advice for anyone is if you're interested in doing product reviews, even before you apply for the Amazon influencer program, create a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel and start just going around your house, finding things that you love, products that you use, and make videos. And they can be really simple. This is something that, I can grab. Here's a Thundercat action figure. I can talk about this Thundercat action figure and say, "Hey, I've had this for since 1986, and this is what I love about it." And start making that. I can film that in 1 minute. I can post it on YouTube, and it might get 3 views, right? But if I do that every day, within a month or two, I'm going to have 100 videos up there, and I'm probably going to get better at making review videos. I'm going to start seeing what videos get traction. Why do people watch videos? Which one are getting more than 3 views? And I'm gonna start that learning process. But then the other cool thing is
Wow.
when people see review channels online and see that they're starting to get traction, that's when people reach out to you and say, "Hey, I have this new Thundercat. Can I send it to you? I'll pay you $50 to make a video and put it on your channel." And so for me, it's crazy to think because if we went back in time 2.5 years, I was getting 0 emails a week. Now I'm getting 100 emails a week, and I get to pick what products I accept. And I'm getting paid a few $100s each week to review products for other people. And I could be doing that even without Amazon. Simply having a YouTube channel that has videos that might not be making any money. It just so happens my YouTube channel is monetized because it's grown enough that I make money regardless, just on views. But and you can do that same thing on TikTok. In fact, you're going to grow much faster on TikTok than you will on YouTube, just because they're promoting those videos, and it's easier to get followers on TikTok than it is on YouTube. So the first step is just start doing it. Yeah, there's no
Hmm.
reason to wait. You could do 5 videos today, create a channel. In fact, I just made a video about this on my channel, and in real time showed you can create a channel, create social accounts, film 3 videos, and upload them to your channel in 20 minutes. Like it's totally
Wow.
doable. So you
Yeah.
just have to start.
We live in the era of no excuses, right? Like it's too accessible. There is no barrier of entry for a lot of different ways that you can start making money and utilizing your skill set or just your passion, your interest. So I love that. Thank you for like the very concise path. Just get started, do something. And I will say too, like same with probably where you started with Amazon videos, as you started doing that, you're looking around the house for things you already have. Like I was mentioning, these are books I already owned. So I didn't have to go buy things on TikTok shop. I was just like, cool. The Ninja Creamy that I have is already on there, or the books that I read are already on there. And I'm going to talk about the protein powder that I use every day. I found that I was an affiliate, just kind of a funny side story. I was an affiliate for a hair company, like curling iron straighteners hair product. And my affiliate commission rate was probably less than 10%. Now, it was nice because it was more like UGC. They were pushing out content for me. They were paying for the ad. So I would make the video and then I would just make a lot of money. But then I got on TikTok Shop and I'm like, hold on, they're like 40 to 50% commission. That's way higher than my, less than 10% I was getting before. So I hit that really hard. And, it's not aligned with my niche at all. But I was just like, this is amazing. I already have these products and now I can get paid. So I just want to make that recommendation to people too, regardless of the platform you start. I love that you said if it's YouTube, talk about the things that you love. Maybe you don't even have an affiliate portal set up yet with Amazon or anything, but I do think it's powerful to start with something where look for the products that are already there so that you can start making money maybe even immediately. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I love that.
And you don't need to spend any money. I've made 2,500 review videos, and I've purchased 0 products specifically to review them. I've only
Wow.
reviewed things that I would have gotten anyways. I do shop more now, and I do buy more things, because we have more income and because I know what kind of things will convert well.
Yeah.
But I've never bought something just to review it and then get rid of it. You don't need to. There's plenty of things that you can review around your house. So the barrier of entry for being a product reviewer really is you need to have something to film. Like, and for me, that's always been a smartphone. Even though I have nice cameras now and I have nice microphones and I have a light kit, like 99% of my videos are just my phone. And that's good enough for product reviews.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I want to just dabble in this a minute. I know we don't want to go too deep into it, and you're kind of still in the evolution of this, but when it comes to sponsored videos or getting those, paid sponsorships from companies, what should we keep in mind? Like, do you wish you would have started doing that sooner? I think you were doing that pretty early on anyway. People were reaching out to
Yeah.
you. What do we
Yeah.
want to know?
So I was doing it even before the Amazon influencer program. I just wasn't doing a lot of it. And it took me a long time for those videos, to shoot a product review video. I was spending 5, 10, 20 hours.
Hmm.
And now even for my high quality videos, I'm, max 2 hours for really, really nice products. And so what has happened is as you upload more videos to your Amazon storefront, if you're an Amazon influencer, or to your YouTube channel if you're simply posting videos there, or to TikTok Shop. I've had people find me on each of those 3. Now on Amazon, you don't have contact information. It redirects to
Hmm.
your social. So my Amazon storefront directs people to my YouTube channel, and that's where they find my contact information. But when I get emails from people, it's because they saw me review another product. Eh, they almost can't find you any other way, right? So
Yeah.
they're looking at their competitors, and so you might establish like some authority in a space. I'm reviewing light bulbs today. I'm the light bulb guy. And it's because 2 years ago I reviewed a light bulb and then all the other light bulb companies reached out to me, and it's not glamorous, but when you get paid $50 to do a 5-minute video on light bulbs, it's worth it. So
Yeah.
I don't say no to that. But they just find you because of what you've posted. And so again, you can start right now posting things to YouTube. And I just created a new YouTube channel specifically for an area where I want to get free stuff. So I'm only posting videos there in that niche.
Hmm.
And then people who reach out to me, it's going to be for stuff that I know that I'll want.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of my strategy moving forward. When I mentioned I'm moving away from quantity and moving into quality, part of that is because 90% of the products I review, I give away to my students or for wedding presents or for whatever. And I don't we have more stuff than we'll ever need. And so the problem is getting rid of the stuff. I don't want piles in my house. And when it comes to my students, I found they were really grateful. We do class auctions and they're really grateful for anything I bring in. But I started thinking about their needs and I thought, what would be better than a backpack? An e-bike. You know
Mm.
what would be better than a remote control car? A banjo. And so I actually have started intentionally making high quality videos in these niches so that I can get products in those areas to give to my students. And I've even reached out to a few companies and said, "Hey, I've reviewed these products in the past. Here are some examples. Do you have any you'd like me to review?" And I actually have a banjo sitting right here because I did that, and they sent me a product that I will gift to my students in 2 weeks when we have our party. And
Oh,
so
man.
you can be proactive here and reach out to companies. It's hard because finding the right person, getting the right contact information, that's not an easy process, but Instagram is really good for that. If you find the marketing agent or the seller on Instagram, that's usually a good place to start.
Awesome. I bet you're like teacher of the year. Everybody wants to be in your class. They're like, this guy gives away banjos and all kinds of good stuff. That's so fun.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's the case, but not because I give away banjos. I think I'm a pretty decent teacher.
It sounds like you are, and I'm so grateful that you came back on and taught us a little bit more about what you've learned. It's so important to stay relevant, and I was just talking to Justin the other day about how we can have all these experts on and we want to make sure that they're giving us actionable advice that works today, and we'll have to have you on every couple of years to keep sharing that because that insight is really valuable. Technology, the world is moving very quickly, so I appreciate you being willing to come give us a little peek behind the current curtain of your business. It's been super enlightening and I've appreciated every minute of it.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on, and this really is a wonderful side hustle. If you're looking for a way to increase your income with a very low barrier to entry, it does take work and it takes hard work. And the more educated you can be on it, the better. But this is a great place to start. There are so many side hustles where it takes thousands of hours before you make a dollar. As a product reviewer, you can make money in your first month.
I love it. Do you have any resources for us or best place that we can connect with you, kind of keep up with what you're doing, or even like just let us know best place to go?
Yeah, I have a lot of places, but for this conversation, where people are going to find the most value is to go to my YouTube channel, Creator Side Income, and I have a whole series on the Amazon Influencer Program. I do monthly income reports, and I do have step-by-step tutorials on how to get started and stuff like that. So if you're thinking about doing this, that's a great place to head over. That's just Creator Side Income.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Appreciate it. We'll link to everything in the show notes. This has been great. You're a wonderful guest. Can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you so much.
Of course.